GM everyone, this is Guru, your Waku DevRel. In this Waku ecosystem spotlight, we'll be having a conversation with Kieran, the co-founder of RAILGUN. RAILGUN has been an active member of the Waku ecosystem for the last couple of years, and I am really excited to host them in today's space. So going ahead, Kieran, can you introduce us to RAILGUN?
So RAILGUN is a privacy system that adds a private address type to EVM. So rather than a regular 0x address, you can have a 0zk address, and the contents of that address and its transaction history are only visible to the private key holder.
So how does RAILGUN differ from the other existing pro-privacy protocols in the space? Do you have any specific pointers that make RAILGUN stand off from the other available alternatives?
So RAILGUN's got a focus on security, which means everything happens directly on the layer 1 or alternative that you're using. So for example, if you're using Ethereum, the only security assumptions that you take on are the ones that you take on with Ethereum, plus the included smart contract list with the tokens and RAILGUN smart contracts. There's no bridging or like centralized like keys or anything like that that you need to worry about.
Cool. So why did RAILGUN choose to use Waku in your infrastructure? Do you have any specific points for that?
Yeah, so originally the implementation was going to be running over libp2p, and contributors were looking at implementing a Tor transport for libp2p, but we found that Waku having the gossip network already in place, and already having a bit of usage running over the network was a good option for us, which cut out a lot of work having to implement things ourselves.
So what are the future plans with RAILGUN? Like, do you have a roadmap for the next coming quarters, or what is the focus like for the upcoming quarters?
Well, I think contributors, probably the most pressing UX challenge with RAILGUN right now is the gas cost. Making sure we're reducing the gas cost for common interactions, optimizing things like that. And I think just generally, making sure that the UX is polished up as much as possible. So that ends up going across all the different components of the stack, right? Contracts, some of the indexing things, indexing and rebuilding wallet state, and then out to making sure that the teams developing wallets as well have the best possible tools to have a good UX for users.
How does privacy matter to you individually?
Well, personally, I think if you're going to have a global, distributed ledger where everything is recorded immutably for all time, having your personal, like finances, which are very just linked to what you do day to day, can be quite disastrous, both for personal security and just generally to avoid the sort of like pocket watching that people tend to do sometimes. And so like privacy is a key component to enabling mass adoption of crypto for payments and just other financial use cases.
What are the different components of the RAILGUN ecosystem? For someone who is new to RAILGUN, what are the different segments that they should be understanding?
So Railgun has a couple of different parts to it. So the main kind of core part is the smart contracts, obviously. So that's what enables the new address types that Railgun uses, so the 0ck address. But on top of that, there's you need to be able to interact with the smart contracts, and so in order to make that easy for developers, there are the Railgun SDKs, which are used in a couple of different projects right now. So the Railway Wallet and Terminal Wallet both use the Railgun SDKs to integrate Railgun. So those are both wallets that you can use right now. And going into that, there's a few other things that might be built out in the future. So the current option for indexing is the graph protocol, plus you can obviously query directly from RPCs, but contributors are exploring other more performant options as well. So that might be something to look forward to. And there's on the contract side, there's the possibility that things like private intents, so for things like cow swap and stuff like that, might also be a possibility as well. So the feature set's always always expanding, and I guess the ultimate goal is anything that you could do with just a regular EOA, you should be able to do through Railgun just privately.
So I'm really curious, how does Waku fit into your stack as a privacy-preserving relayer? Can you comment more on the technical side of Waku integration with Railgun?
So whenever you're putting together like a privacy protocol, right, there's the obvious kind of on-chain data that people think about, but there's also various other ways that could compromise your privacy that people might not think about, right? So it really doesn't matter if you're using the privacy protocol, but like you've got let's say a browser extension just sitting there and recording everything you do, right? So that's kind of the extreme. But even if you don't have maybe like malicious stuff on your computer, that's like logging telemetry, you've still got other sort of avenues that you could like leak data. So things like communicating with RPCs and all of these other sort of like networking stuff that wallets have to do in order to communicate with the Ethereum blockchain. These are all avenues that someone could sit there and log data on and still kind of like invade your privacy. And so what Waku's done, or what Waku does is provides this sort of like peer-to-peer layer that wallets can kind of talk to all of these various components over that doesn't compromise or like still provides a layer of hardening against logging that various services could do. And so there's a component in the Railgun system called relays, right? So what a relay does is it essentially just proxies the gas for a particular transaction to avoid that showing up on chain in like a traceable way. And you need to be able to communicate with these relays privately, and that's what occurs over Waku.
Amazing. So what are the best resources for the audience to know more about Railgun?
Well, there is a informational site, railgun.org, which you can go to. That's probably the best entry point. It's got links to Twitter, Telegram, Discord in there. There's a Medium as well that's linked from that site, and yeah, there's documentation as well on there if you're a developer and want to build a Railgun application.
Thanks for joining us, Kieran. It was really nice talking to you. And for every one of you out there, make sure to check out the Railgun project and make sure to join the Waku community on our Discord. Just head to discord.waku.org and our co-contributors are happy to help you in all possible ways. Thank you and see you there.